And welcome to HS Game Time and a great week one of the high school football season. I'm Pep Fernandez, and thanks for joining us. You know, technology is a funny thing, and sometimes it just doesn't cooperate. So HS Game Time Live taking this Friday off, but we will be back on Saturday, and that's the big show anyways, the big Saturday scouting reports. We will have highlights, and if I did the math correctly, we're going to have highlights from 15 different high school football games from around the inland area. A lot of great games to get to. We want to pass on a couple scores from Friday night, so in case you're out there wondering who won tonight, let's bring in Kyle Glazer, our sports writer, as we run down a couple of these. Kyle, you're at the San Jacinto Lakeside game.
Yes, I was.
Close in the first half, not so much in the second half.
Yes, it was 22-17 with under a minute remaining in the first half. San Jacinto on top. Lakeside had the ball, but then there was a key bad snap on a punt attempt by Lakeside. That gave San Jacinto the ball to Lakeside 19. San Jacinto punches it in, went up 29-17 at half, opened up the third quarter with touchdowns on their first two possessions. Really, they scored 21 points in a 10-minute span, and that turned what was a close game into a three-touchdown rout, like I said, in about 10 minutes.
Well, I got you here. Let's run down a couple other scores. Larry Baker lost his debut at Norco High School as they lost to Rancho Cucamonga. North opened up their brand new stadium, and they lost to Heritage 38-12, so the Patriots with another win. You covered Heritage a little bit, right? So what do you think of Heritage?
I mean, look, they're one of the best teams in the Central Division. Every year they've become that perennial power, and we thought coming in they were probably going to win this game, and they did. They have a matchup against Beaumont next week. They have a good chance to start the season 3-0.
And another storyline we were following was Hemet. They had a great win in week 0. They went to Murrieta Mesa. You picked the Rams. I went with Hemet because Coach Reitz was standing right next to us. And the Bulldogs battled, but they did lose tonight to Murrieta Mesa.
And that's what it came down to. I mentioned I thought that the Rams played in a tougher league. They're a little more fine-tuned. They ended up with a 10-point win, but Hemet was very competitive, much more so than last year. That's a theme that I think will stay true throughout the season.
All right, thank you, Kyle. We're going to get Chris Erickley here in just a second to talk about his games from Friday night. We also want to tell you that Lynchfield Christian was a winner over Notre Dame 17-7. And a couple of the other scores, King did beat Norta Vista tonight. It was Chaparral over Valley View. Those are a couple of the other ones that we are getting in here. And Paloma Valley, Chris will talk about this, blew out Sultana. We actually do have some highlights, but it's after halftime, after it was already 64-0. So the Wildcats were up big. And Chris is going to come in here and talk about Vista Murrieta opening their season against Downey, and Keyshawn Holmes not playing. Come on in, Chris. So in the Saturday show, we will have Keyshawn Holmes sending out a message that he will be back, but they didn't really need him tonight against Downey.
A little bit of a banged up shoulder. I think it was more of a precautionary thing than anything. He did give you the guarantee that he'll be back in there against Yucaipa next week. Against Downey, Downey actually scored the first touchdown. You could be a little bit nervous when Vista was down 7-0. Maybe they were shaking off the jitters, but after that, it was the Colton Gearhart show as he was making his big debut for Vista Murrieta after making the transfer over from Norco, something that has definitely been talked a lot about here on HS Game Time. Overall, he had a great game on the ground. When I was there, just alone, he had 3 rushing touchdowns and threw one in the air to Mr. Baker, one of the favorite targets last year for Vista Murrieta. Also, 400 total yards rushing as a team for Vista tonight, 66-23, pretty much starting back up where they left off last year.
Looking like the team to beat. And new uniforms, right? They had kind of a different look tonight.
Yeah, new uniforms. New quarterback with Stevens out, and of course their go-to guy last year, Sua Cravens, kind of turning the page. How about some new unis? Hey, how about the highlights? Let's roll out. We got Colton Gearhart making his debut. Drink a little that high-quality H2O. Turns out into a nice little ditty right here to Jamie Nunley for the touchdown. 7-7 tie early in the first quarter. Vista D getting in the mix as well. There's the Vista Bronco Nation. How about Curtis Bolton stuffing the run Thanksgiving turkey style? Downey playing hot potato, their quarterback. Not something you want to do with the ball. Hot potato there. It was almost 100 degrees. Maybe the ball was heating up, couldn't hang on to it. Linebacker Shannon Walsh with the pickup. Then Colin Baker. Used to baking the bread for the Broncos last year, this time with the catch and the shake and bake all the way down to the 7-yard line. Gearhart would take care of business from there with the touchdown run, 14-7 the score. More from Vista on the ground attack. Tito Feliciano filling in for Pep's boy Keyshawn Holmes tonight. Take a look at him. breaking it off on a nice, crucial third down run. How about a 50 to 60-yard pickup there? He almost broke away for the 6, but couldn't quite get it there. Gearhart finding the end zone for the second time on the evening with the 20-yard run. Now 21-7 Vista. Then one more. They were saying run, Colton, run. Reminded me of run, Forrest, run, Forrest, run. That was his third run of the night. This one of the 80-yard variety. As I said before, 400 yards rushing on the night for the Bronco offense. They appear to not be missing many of those big parts, at least not tonight against Downey. They'll have another test next week, though, when they hit the road out to San Diego.
All right, and quickly, Chris, you went to Paloma Valley as well. By the time you got there, this one was long over.
Well, that Vista game was 28-7 when I left. I said, hey, I better get over to that Paloma game, and whoopsie, halftime, 64-0. They were firing up the troops at halftime, not that they needed it anyways. I don't know if they were planning on doubling up the score there. Playing for Juju, the young boy who lost his life in Menifee earlier this year. These are the second stringers getting a little love in the second half, kind of getting some reps from Coach Esposito.
Nice.
Paloma didn't score. They eased up in the second half. 64-14 was the score, but I don't think Coach Esposito was losing any sleep tonight. They pretty much had it done.
I don't think so. All right, thank you, Chris. We appreciate it. Another big game from week 1 was the Solar Series. We're going to bring Dennis Pope on in just a second. Thank you, Chris. Riverside Poly and Ramona. Now, Ramona had not won a game in the Solar Series since 1997, but after opening the year with a big win against Rubidoux, the Rams figured they could be in the mix this year to knock off the Bears, their in-town rival, at Ramona Stadium. Riverside Poly, obviously, with their new head coach, Dennis Brown, looking to get off on the right foot against their rival, the Rams. And Dennis Pope covered that game for us. He's going to be stepping in just a moment to talk about this. I got there for a little bit in the third quarter, and Riverside Poly already had a commanding lead wearing those bright orange uniforms, which you just have to love. There's nothing wrong about that. Okay, come on over, Dennis Pope. And Riverside Poly jumped out, and a lot of the help that they got came from Ramona, right? Ramona was kind of their own worst enemy.
Yeah, they had 3 turnovers there early in the first half. Poly scored on each of them, so they were able to take advantage. Devontae Hale scored on the first one, and then they returned a fumble, 75 yards for another touchdown before going up 21.
And you could say at least Ramona's made strides, right? As compared to last season in 2012 when they were winless. They did beat Rubidoux, and, they did have some plays, at least when I was there, that, was impressive.
Yeah, Damon Mays, he threw the ball effectively. He definitely looks like a Division I prospect. They found a lot of weaknesses in Poly's defense on the slant play and over the middle, those types of plays.
All right, thank you, Dennis. That was the Solar Series as Riverside Poly knocks off Ramona. Now, those are some of the scores from the big games that we covered in week 1. We will have a complete wrap-up on the big Saturday show. All the highlights and the scores on the Saturday Scouting Report. We will have highlights from 15 different games from week 1. So please join us here on HS Game Time on Saturday afternoon with all your highlights from week 1 of the high school football season. We apologize for the technical difficulties, but we wanted to pass along some of the scores and what happened in week 1, and we hope you'll join us again next Friday for HS Game Time Live. I'm Pep Fernandez. We'll see you next time.